Welcome back. You're still watching Politics HQ Radio News Central Television. In a stunning turn of events, yesterday on the floor of the Senate, I don't know how many of you watched it, but it was streamed live right here on News Central Television, where Senator Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe, my brother from Cross Rivers North Senatorial District, raised serious allegations against his fellow senators, accusing them of receiving hefty sums from the 2024 budget in the form of allocation, constituency allocation, project allocations. Now, he said that he had not received what some of his members had received. I don't know. Can we listen to that? Then we'll be right back.
We are going forth and back on these issues and coming up with issues of the budget and individual issues concerning what came to our various constituencies. So if we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi,
I don't know why they tried to shut him up, and of course his mic was turned off or was offed. Well, the senator's claims have sent shockwaves through Nigerian politics and through the country, raising questions about transparency and accountability in Nigeria's legislative process. You saw that bombshell dropped by Agom Jarigbe Agom. It's a bombshell, really, and the allegations are quite deep. I want to come to our guests who are still with us. Nnaemeka Obiaraeri, before we went on the break, you were talking about, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, but Elvis now linked it to budget padding. As far as you're concerned, is this a new story? Some will argue, and I do that what we see play out in Nigeria is always usually a repetition. We know about the situation of Representative Abdulmumin Jibrin in 2016, when he made an allegation starting with 250,000 billion naira budget padding by the then House of Reps Speaker Dogara, then later said 4.1 billion. We know about the story of Ali Ndume in the House of Senate, who also was suspended at some point. We had Jibrin suspended. And then Shehu Sani, senator then at the time, also raised some issues with the 2018 budget. He was almost suspended, but for the intervention of Saraki. Are these things new? Sir?
This is not new. I've always posited, I've always submitted. There is no rigor, there is no transparency in the budgeting process in Nigeria. 40% of whatever you see in the annual budget in Nigeria are actually things meant to be looted and shared. And this is the truth. They came up with this idea that they will be doing zero budgeting. And zero budgeting we never saw for the past 9 years. I think if we actually want to bring in transparency, if you want to bring in rigor, if you want to bring integrity in our budgeting process, I think the likes of Deloitte, PwC, and KPMG should be contracted to always review whatever the public sector comes up with. If we want to have a transparent budget process, we must go back to zero budgeting process, and we must involve the likes of KPMG, PwC, and Deloitte. Across board, anything outside there is just chasing shadows. What we have been seeing here is something that has been happening since time immemorial. I have always argued, corruption is the greatest bane in Nigeria. Look at, is there any political office holder that you can today say what his net worth is before he entered power and after he left power? Go to America. If you call up Senator Graham Lindsay, I will tell you his net worth in 2015. I will tell you his net worth today. It is open there. When Obama became president, his net worth was declared. It was open. When he left, we knew how much he was worth when he left. Yar'Adua is the only living or dead man in Nigeria, political officer, who had openly declared his assets. Why they get away with all this padding and shine and looting? Because there is no deterrence in place. And we have always said this. The Code of Conduct Bureau, under a wholly public sector arrangement, will not cut corruption, will not cut corruption. We've made suggestions, and they know it is the right suggestion. Amend the laws. Make it compulsory. Every public office holder and civil servants from the grade level 14 and above must declare their assets and liabilities publicly. Create an e-portal that is accessible to the public. When they give them a code, just like when after the elections, you give the presiding officers a code with which they can upload results.
But these recommendations, sir, these recommendations, why haven't people like yourself passed a bill to the National Assembly for it to be inserted into the law, maybe a constitutional amendment?
I am not an elected House of National Assembly member.
No, but you can present a memorandum.
Okay, don't they watch your channels? They watch it, they hear it. I don't need to raise any memorandum for them to do this. Transparency, anti-corruption fight. The best form of anti-corruption fight is deterrence, is intelligence. Pass the law. Then enshrine the whistleblowing provision in the law. If any Nigerian helps to blow a whistle and an asset is recovered or a first recovered, he will get 20%. If you do this, do you know why they are afraid of the social media? You have independent investigators who can even dig deeper than the FCC and the police. If you put these two laws in place, before you assume any office as a political officer, they will give you a code, upload your assets and liabilities in that e-portal, accessible to every Nigerian. And then include that whistleblowing provision. When you do this, the bankers that they will help them to launder money will be the ones who blow the whistle. The police, if policeman A arrests you and you bribe him, policeman B will continue from where he stopped.
All right.
Your brothers and sisters and your drivers will be the ones blowing whistle on you.
Mr. Barry,
let me tell you, when there is deterrence, corruption disappears.
Okay, Mr. Barry, interesting. Elvis, you're from civil society. Like I said, these issues are not new. What is also not new is that Nigerians will talk about this, will analyze this, will complain, will write about this, will post about this, and will move on. Abdulmumin Jibrin was on his own. Nobody fought for him. He was vilified by his own party. He was suspended and his political career has not recovered since then. Ali Ndume was lucky. Sheikh Sani also suffered on his own. Why don't we have civil society groups like yours pushing for some of these changes, taking some of these issues up, that if you come to office, you must declare your asset, and then when you're leaving, it must be made public, and advocating for this? Because it is going to happen again.
Good question. You agree with me that a handful of us are even still battling with, let me tell you something. Do you know at the moment, there are some civil society group you want to register at the CAC? It took a lot for me to register the Not Young to Lead initiative at the CAC. You know the response we got? Years after years, they said, it sounds political. It sounds like we want to fight the system. It sounds like, the name sounds like we'll protest against the system. That's the country we'll find out. Unfortunately, that's the country we'll find out ourselves. And these cases are peculiar with a lot of civil society. It's unfortunate that the system we find ourselves is a system that was built to consume us, to keep our voices muted. But still, there's still a percentage of us that want to say, no, we want a better Nigeria. We will not escape Nigeria. It's our duty to amplify the muted voices of other Nigerians. For example, you see, firstly, I'm disappointed in the present Senate. I think it's the 10th Senate. I'm disappointed in them. Not only the Senate, the leadership of the Senate. Let's not forget to that. They were all elected to become senator. Even the Senate president is not more privileged than the member, because he was the same way he got to that place was how an honorary member got there. So when you shut the mouth of a fellow senator up, you shut the mouth of his constituents. And Nigerians are keeping calm. They are quiet. Nobody's saying anything. Like you said, what is civil society doing? In the next few days, you'll see, I've been discussing with some of my colleagues, you will come out with a statement that the fact remains that nobody is more Nigerian than any other person. We contracted governance to this person. Be the senator, be the Senate president, he should know that he's living on taxpayers' money and not personal money. So his words and actions should be in sync with what Nigeria wants. Because I'll find ourselves in a society where it's as if they want to shut up. But for me, he can't shut me up as a person. He can't.
All right.
Talk of me leading a group called Not Too Young to Lead Initiative. The group is to amplify the immediate voices of the young people who contracted governance to people like the Senate president, who will soon tell us what he's doing as the Senate president and not shut the mouth of other young Nigerians.
All right, we're still waiting to see what civil society will say about this because, I mean, it's almost as if nothing is happening when it comes to issues like this. We just talk, and but we don't move, we don't act. I want us to look at the statement from Shehu Onibide, who is a co-founder of Budget, who gave a recent television interview where he said, because Budget is a leading civil society organization as far as budget accountability, transparency, and following the money is concerned. Now, they said that Senator Abdul Ningi, or he said, was right about the lack of detailed breakdown of about 3.7 trillion naira out of the 28.7 trillion naira 2024 budget. So if this is a CSO, private organization saying that we've found out that Ningi was right, where should we go from here? Nnaemeka Obiaraeri.
Where should we go from here is a question that has no answer. And I will tell you it has no answer. Suspending Ningi will not solve the problem. And it's very funny. There's a provision of the Constitution that states that there is no constituency that will stay without a representative, either a senator or House of Rep. Suspending Ningi for 3 months is denying these constituents the privilege of being represented, which is against the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which supersedes the order of the Senate. And nobody has actually tried this in court. And I'm sure Ningi knows that we are in a near state of, some people call Nigeria currently an active crime scene. An active crime scene because if he goes to court to challenge this, it may linger till the next
but Mr. Obiaraeri, is it just up to Ningi? Since someone like Shehu Onibide, who is a voice, co-founder of Budget, they have a lot of analysis they do on the budget and all that, has come out to say Ningi was right. Who is going to make sure that we probe this and we get to the bottom and whoever is culpable is found out at least? Are we leaving it to Ningi? Are Nigerians leaving it to Ningi?
As I said, we're in a state of helplessness and hopelessness. And that is the truth. Leadership is everything. Yeah, I look at my left, I look at my right. The whole place stinks. Look at what's happening in Argentina. Look at a president that was elected how many months ago? Look at the kind of revolution and reforms going on there. Leadership is everything. If we can get one person, even look at National Assembly, even members of the opposition, Labour Party and PDP, you saw that Ningi angrily resigned his membership of Northern Senators Forum. It's a word of protest. He felt betrayed. He felt thrown under the bus. Just look around you. Who in the system, from the executive arm of government to the, do you think has that patriotism or altruism to do what is right? Just like this guy, I said, Beelzebub and not cast out Beelzebub. We are in a state of hopelessness and helplessness.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Obiaraeri and Nnaemeka. So he's saying that there's no hope for Nigerians as far as all of these corruption is concerned. It's a hopeless situation. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, Nnaemeka Obiaraeri and Elvis Akpobi. Stay with me. I want to go to you, Elvis Akpobi. As far as this issue of constituency projects is concerned, the allocations given to members of the National Assembly are placed in their constituency. So you get a call, you're given an opportunity to say, okay, what would you like to nominate as a project? And then they allocate some money for it, or they say this is what we have, or what project would you like to nominate. Do you think that we need to really bring an end to this? And if so, how do we do that? Is it true advocacy? The Senate presidency look into it, or what? Elvis?
For me, it's true advocacy. You know, over time, our governments seem to do. For me, there should be a town hall meeting for the Senate now, every senatorial district. You don't give people malaria drugs when their problem is typhoid. Have a town hall meeting with your constituents. Let them be the one to tell you this is our pertinent need at the moment, and things like that should go into the budget. You see cases where people out of interest, you see like I said, interest, you see a particular road that does not have economic value being constructed, just because maybe the lawmaker wants to make that his constituency project with bias, in quotes, and these people, they don't need this thing. So for me, I believe that it's time the National Assembly have every senator have town hall meeting with their constituents that, okay, for this year, which project do you think is pertinent? What do you think we'll need? And things like that should go into the budget. And not those people who contracted governance to speak, to amplify our muted voices in the National Assembly, pick projects for us, projects that are inconsequential, and in the long run, you find out that there's no development. I think that should be done across board.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so very kindly for your time. I'm sure also we can also look at the fact that even the constituents have a different view of legislation, and they think that legislators are meant to give them things, and sometimes these legislators say their hands are tied. You also will expect handouts from them. We have to leave it at that. Elvis, Akpobi, Nnaemeka, Obiaraeri, thank you so very kindly for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Of course, that's the size of our package tonight on Politics HQ. You can be assured we will return tomorrow with the latest and important topics on Nigeria politics. My name is Kofi. Bartels. Good night.